Special Agent Fox Mulder was recruited into the FBI after studying psychology at Oxford University. Initially pursuing a career in criminal profiling, he had a bright future ahead of him. Quite adept at getting into the minds of the killers he pursued, his profiles led to many successful arrests. However, his career track was derailed after he underwent hypnotic regression in '89 and unearthed the memory of the abduction of his sister, Samantha. Convinced that she was taken by aliens, he began working on the X-Files and started investigating reports of the paranormal while keeping an open file on her. Reluctantly taking Special Agent Scully on as a partner, he often disagreed with her scientific process of solving cases. Despite their different methods, however, they many times came to similar conclusions. Their loyalty to each other and friendship grew with time. Oh yeah. And they became close partners. Mulder had often credited his partner Dana Scully with keeping him honest about his work. Though his far-out theories often proved to be right, it was Scully's even-minded attitude and logical approach to cases that have kept Mulder's feet on the ground and have lent legitimacy to his work. His devotion to her continues to be strong, and my heart just melted a lot. Often flouting FBI policy, Mulder's main quest has been to expose the conspiracy to hide the existence of extraterrestrial life, a conspiracy he feels is at the core of his sister's abduction. Mulder believes there is a group of men, a syndicate that includes the cigarette-smoking man within the government who has ties to this alien conspiracy. Mulder's work on the X-Files has taken over most aspects of his life, because he didn't have one before. During one case, syndicate henchman Alex Krycek murdered his father. During another case that led him to a gulag in Tunguska, Russia, we played during this game, Mulder was taken prisoner infected with the alien black oil. This infection may have been at the root of his reaction to rubbings of an alien artifact, a section of an alien craft found on the Ivory Coast in biogenesis. Through this reaction, he developed psychic abilities and experienced strange visions. During this experience, the CSM took Mulder and arranged a brain surgery operation. Mulder is often at the center of the syndicate's plans and has many times been maneuvered by the cigarette-smoking man to best serve their plans. He does not let these complications deter him, but they do take their toll. He's starting to go mad! Yeah, let's have a laugh at Scully. Oh, Season 8 promo pic. Special Agent Scully from the FBI, began her career after medical school. Against her father's wishes, she transferred directly to Quantico, where she taught at the training academy. A medical doctor with an emphasis in forensics, her experience has proved invaluable to the X-Files investigations. She conducts many autopsies herself and is thus able to personally look for hidden clues that may solve the case. She is a strong believer in logic and the scientific method, a belief system that often puts her at odds with her partner Mulder. Scully was initially assigned to the X-Files with the implied understanding that she was to debunk Mulder's work. Refusing to look specifically for ways to prove his theories outrageous and useless, she came to the work from a scientific standpoint. Though she and Mulder often used completely different investigative methods, they often arrived at similar conclusions. Her respect for Mulder, despite his wild theories, grew with time, and she became extremely loyal to him and his work. Oh yeah, and his libido. Her ability to keep a cool head in stressful situations and her logical methods have lent legitimacy to the X-Files. Never a believer in aliens, it took many years and overwhelming evidence for Scully to begin to accept the idea of the existence of extraterrestrials. The discovery of the alien spacecraft on the Ivory Coast and the implications of the inscriptions upon it rocked Scully's beliefs. Much like Agent Mulder, Agent Scully's life has been consumed by her work. Scully became an X-File when she was abducted and upon her return discovered that a chip was implanted in the back of her neck. After removing the chip, she developed terminal cancer. It was only when a new chip supplied by the cigarette-smoking man was implanted that her cancer went into remission. However, she has often stated that she would not go back on her decision to join and stay with the X-Files. Despite Mulder's repeated attempts to get her to leave the X-Files in the interest of her health, she has always refused. So Scully, despite her reliance on science, is deeply religious. She is practicing Catholic. No, she's a relapsed Catholic, and wears a small gold cross around her neck at all times. She is a believer in miracles and is often at odds with Mulder in cases of religious significance. In these situations, they tend to trade sides. Sorry for my stumbling reading, because of the screen I'm reading it on. Assistant Director Skinner supervises Agents Mulder and Scully and is a sex god. Stern and highly bound by duty. Though he is often pulled between several powers, he is fiercely loyal to Mulder and Scully. He uses his access and power as often as possible to help them in their quest to expose the vast conspiracy waged by the syndicate. Though he does not believe in aliens himself, he respects Mulder's drive and works covertly when he can to assist in his quest. Skinner. Skinner has experienced paranormal phenomena from time to time, though he is loath to explore it. In Vietnam, he experienced a ghostly visitation. Also, he was once visited by a succubus, which resulted in a murder for which he was accused. Agents Mulder and Scully helped him exonerate himself and catch the real killer, though he refused to discuss the experience. Skinner is also trapped by the political constraints of his job and has on occasion been forced to close the X-Files. However, he also reopened the X-Files of his own authority. He often warns the agents when their investigation crosses a line, although his warnings usually go unheeded. In most cases, he strikes a balance by offering as much assistance as he can while still maintaining his John Fitzgerald Byers, Ringo Langley, and Melvin Frohicke, otherwise known as the Lone Gunmen, are longtime friends and advisors of Agents Fox Mulder and Dana Scully. They met at a technology convention in 1989 and joined forces to help Suzanne Medeski, a government scientist seeking to expose a plot to expose the public to a paranoia-inducing gas. They also meet Mulder, who was chasing Medeski at this convention. Their common experience seeing the very real conspiratorial elements in the government bound them together. They soon began publishing The Lone Gunman, a conspiracy theory-laden underground paper bent on exposing the nefarious aspects of the government. Could have used a better picture, but I do like that one. Oh, hang on a sec. Byers, a former public affairs officer for the FCC, is always well dressed and ready with background information on nearly any fringe subject. He is an expert in information systems and military projects. He is also deeply patriotic and works to expose the darker workings of the government in the hopes of bringing the country back to the glory days. Langley, a Dungeons & Dragons geek with a punk rock sensibility, is an accomplished computer hacker and communications expert. He boasts he can break into almost any mainframe or secure server. He has a tendency towards extreme paranoia and sarcastic quips. Frohicke met the other gunman while selling cable descramblers. A surveillance specialist, Frohicke has a sharp wit and a long-time crush on Agent Scully. Though smaller in stature, a fact he becomes defensive about easily, he makes up for it with his large personality. Also an accomplished computer hacker, he was once forced to concede that his hacking kung fu was inferior to Langley's. I love this kind of breakdown of their specialities. I never really thought of it like that. Lone Gunmen have no qualms about helping Mulder hack into secure databases or tap into orbiting satellites. Their adventures with Mulder and Scully have often led them to putting themselves in personal danger. However, they believe in uncovering the truth and help in any way they can to pursuit of truth. until season 9 when they're struck down. The elusive CSM has been a major player in the conspiracy to hide the existence of extraterrestrials for many years. A former friend of William Mulder, the CSM, or CGB Spender as Mulder and Scully discovered his alias to be, had an affair with Mulder's mother. Bum chicka wow wow, and Mulder was the result. The cigarette-smoking man keeps a constant eye on Mulder's work, often actively working to derail him or making attempts on his and Agent Scully's life. He was instrumental in both Scully's development of cancer and her eventual cure. He has often stopped short of killing Mulder, fearful that his murder would elevate him to martyr status. And hello, he's Mulder's father, he's in no rush. Hands are killing me. The CSM survived an attempted assassination and hid for several months. In the interim, he made contact with his son Jeffrey Spender and positioned Jeffrey higher in the FBI using his connections. Jeffrey Spender denied his father's request for a relationship. He would later decide to work for his father, but turn against him when the true nature of his father's role in the conspiracy was made clear. The CSM shot and presumably killed his son. But he didn't, as we learn in season 9. He was used as a test subject. But I like it says, higher up in the FBI, actually got moved down into the basement and took over the X-Files. Formerly married to Cassandra Spender, he gave his wife up to the alien in the deal that also resulted in Samantha Mulder's abduction. After Cassandra returned, the aliens destroyed the syndicate, but CGB Spender avoided annihilation. He took Diana Fowler under his wing and groomed her to be his person on the inside due to her close relationship with Mulder. I'm going to puke. She eventually turned on him when he arranged for the transplant of brain matter from Mulder to his own brain. He quite likely had her murdered for her part in Mulder's escape after the surgery. Either that or she was literally bombarded by fans and strapped down with some bamboo underneath her. CSM, though part of the syndicate and conspiracy, has kept his own interests paramount. His obvious affection and respect for Mulder has kept him from killing Mulder, but his desire to break Mulder's will proves how limited those emotions are. He remains Mulder's greatest enemy.